Okay, so I've added up 2 bits of sugar, no sort of reaction, so I'm thinking, well, why don't we going to do this, and 2 more, so each 2 of these spoons, because it's organic, is equivalent to 1 of salt basically, so yeah, 2 spoons of sugar equals 1 spoon of salt. So we've got enough there now in sugar or salt equivalent to be enough for a 1.5 litre. So if we make up a polystyrene and sand mix sort of thing, we'll have enough to this. So we'll see how we go, you know, because I'm wondering if what the plants do is they pull the sugar in and they pull it in as glucose because that coats with the copper in the soil. I don't know. Somehow they can actually either pull. And is that the reason why they don't like copper or something? I don't know. They pull in too much, or I suppose we're going to find out. So, well, apparently if we use it as the copper oxychloride, we've shown that, you know, it's not too bad at that. So, you know, is that because it's just really insoluble? But, you know, I don't think so, because you can still see reactions with the leaves, so, you know. But anyway, we'll see how we go. So, we'll see how we go. We'll put some meat in there. So this is our, I suppose, our equivalent to a rocket fuel for the plants, I suppose. Because it has 2 spoons of that, which is what we had in before in our 1.5 litre container sort of thing. And I'll see if there's anything really. And we'll beat it around and see how we go, and then we'll spread it through some. And I'm thinking maybe I can get away with this idea with the sugar is to go back to the popcorn idea, because, you know, considering that popcorn is a type of starch in a way, and of course was the original way where we found the red organism. It was charcoal and popcorn. How that works I don't know, but, you know, they do talk about striking roots on cuttings and things using charcoal and honey. So there's the sugar and there's the charcoal angle. So, you know, how it all actually works, I suppose we're going to work out eventually. But we'll see how we go. I think we are actually breaking up the meat into there quite thoroughly, slowly over time. Yeah, and then we'll spread this through some sand and some polystyrene to the 1.5 litre sort of thing. You've got to start somewhere, fellas. It may be like twice as strong as we need to be or something. Or we might find having this sort of amount of sugar is maybe the plants will dehydrate. Maybe they'll sit there and, you know, maybe the CP weeds will just collapse. But actually the CPs will be able, for some strange reason, be able to handle this, because that would tell us why their salt index is so high, you know. 11 grams per litre of potassium mented salt, and so on and so forth. So are they eating the insects to get the potassium so they can coat with the salinity so they can actually extract the sugar to get the nutrients? Is that the way it works, fellas? I suppose we're going to find out. It's just that it just seems so strange how once you realise the sand is actually salty, and the sand goes to this albion colour once it loses the salt, and then the plants start growing really amazingly, almost seemingly on a skeletal soil, sand with no salt in it, polystyrene, and basically just those 2 spoons of meat that had been put in there months ago sort of thing, which now must be less than the 2 spoons, you know. I calculated, by the way, that was basically 2% in there. 2% of the meat protein in there. And of these ones, if you assume that these are 5 litres, half of 10 litres, and that's 750 mils, and which is half of 1.5 in one of those cut down containers, and 4 of those 240 actual milk bottles make up a 10 litre. If you take all that into account and assume everything is the same equivalent roughly, well then in there's 1.5 to 3%. There's even less in there of the meat, because also, and well, we did have egg in there as well, so, you know, so it's equivalent. So it's basically 1.5 in there, and there's 2% in there. So, you know, if these do really well, they're doing really well off of 1.5% of meat in there. Basically looks a lot, but when you calculate it out, it's very deceptive. as I said, everything in CP seems to be very deceptive, and also seems to be a lot of bullshit around, and we've got to work out what's going on. But I've just got this notion that the CP weeds are going one way and our CPs go the other, which is why we're growing the CP weeds reasonably well now, but we're not getting any germination or any real striking. Maybe with this new soil we'll get striking, but these won't grow well. You know, we'll get striking of CP cuttings and seed germination, but these plants will have trouble coping or something. Maybe, and that will give us like the divide between the two types of plants, basically. I don't know. It's just as I said, you've got to start somewhere. You've got to find that line in the sand, you know, so we can walk the line, basically, between good and bad. Yeah, walk the line, that's what it's all about, walking the line between good and bad, or the perception of good and bad.